Welcome once again to the next lecture of Unit 4 of BP 103T, and we are going to study incompatibility. I am Anjali Mishra, Assistant Professor at Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology, Pharmacy Institute, Greater Noida. So, let us start with the incompatibility. So, before beginning with the term incompatibility, let us understand what is the meaning of incompatibility. Let us understand what actually area that actually covers the word incompatibility. So, when we hear this word incompatibility, the very first thing that strike our mind is not mixing together, not getting engulfed together. So, something that is not favorable for each other is nothing but your incompatibility. So, whenever such kind of incompatibility are seen in dosage forms, be it your tablets, be it your capsules, specifically here be it your suppositories in this unit or any other dosage form, be it your semi-solid dosage form, emulsions, suspensions, whenever there is an improper mixing, then the resultant is nothing but the incompatibility. So, here the incompatibility that we are going to study is considered as a pharmaceutical incompatibility. Pharmaceutical incompatibility basically covers the incompatibility that is actually or that actually occurs in pharmaceutical dosage forms. So, let us understand the definition of this pharmaceutical incompatibility. So, it is defined as when two or more ingredients of a prescription are mixed together, then the undesired changes that may takes place in the physical, chemical, therapeutical properties of the medicament are termed as incompatibility or pharmaceutical incompatibility, to be more precise. So, the definition is quite clear. There is an improper mixing of two or more ingredients. There is an mixing of two or more ingredients, and this mixing is always produce an effect that is completely undesirable. So, nobody desires incompatibility. So, the pharmaceutical incompatibility is also a completely undesirable concept, and it is completely not desired by pharmacist or by medical professional or even by patient as well. So, whatever changes takes place by mixing two or more ingredients is termed as pharmaceutical incompatibility. Majorly the incompatibility or the changes that takes place can be in their physical state, can be in their chemical reaction, or sometimes it can also be for the therapeutic effect of the drug. So, pharmaceutical incompatibility has got its three important wings. So, let us understand the different types of pharmaceutical incompatibility. So, as we can clearly see here, this pyramid represents the types of incompatibility that are usually seen in mixing of undesirable dosage forms. Let us understand. The very first mentioned here is chemical incompatibility. The another one mentioned here is therapeutic incompatibility, and the third and important incompatibility is nothing but the physical incompatibility. Now, the classification of incompatibility is actually being done by understanding that incompatibility occurs at which stage, that whether the incompatibility has occurred physically, then if the incompatibility has occurred physically, it is definitely your physical incompatibility. However, if there is an occurrence of incompatibility in the chemical reaction and there is no physical change that has been observed there, then it is definitely, we can say that such kind of incompatibility arises due to the particular chemical reaction that has taken place inside that particular dosage form. That type of incompatibility are termed as chemical incompatibility. So, physical incompatibility means there is a change in the physical state of a particular dosage form. That physical change can also be because of the color, taste, odor, or it can be any of the state as well as change of state. So, such type of incompatibility are always termed as physical incompatibility. Next, if there is incompatibility in the due to the chemical reaction that has been occurring when we are mixing two or more chemicals together. So, such type of incompatibilities are known as chemical incompatibility. For example, formation of precipitate when two unnecessary or undesirable ingredients are mixed. There could be formation of precipitate or there could be evolution of gases. So, at that point of time, the kind of incompatibility that we have come across is nothing but your chemical incompatibility. Now, understanding therapeutic and the most vital type of incompatibility. Therapeutic incompatibility often is seen, and it is often confused sort of incompatibility, because here the variations are quite high. We are going to study each and every type of incompatibility in a detailed manner. So, majorly here what we are supposed to focus here, pharmaceutical incompatibility is classified as 3 types: physical incompatibility, chemical incompatibility and therapeutic incompatibility. And definitely we have understood the meaning of incompatibility. It means that whenever we are mixing 2 or more ingredients, and if the produced or if the change that has been occurred, it is completely undesirable. So, whatever phenomena has taken place, that are nothing but your pharmaceutical incompatibility. Moving on to the next slide. Let us understand physical incompatibility in a more detailed manner. Physical incompatibility, it is an evidence that drug combination has become failure. So, whenever we get a physical incompatibility, we have to be we have to come to a conclusion that whatever combination of medicaments we are doing is completely a failure. Because whatever if there is a change in the color, if there is a change in the odor, if there is a change of complete state, for example, if a medicament was mixed in a solid state and the result came in, actually the entire medicament liquefied later on. So, we can say that there is a change of state from solid to liquid. So, that is completely a no for us, and that is completely a failure of that mixing. So, such type of incompatibility are termed as physical incompatibility. Now, in physical incompatibility, interaction occurs between 2 or more substances, which involves change in color, change in odor, change in taste, change in viscosity and change in morphology. So, these are some of the important points that are to be noted, that physical incompatibility occurs in color due to the main resultant is there is a color change. Another resultant that there is a change in the odor. Another resultant is that there is a change in the taste. Another result is definitely that there could be change in the viscosity of the preparation. So, the texture of the preparation might change or might differ. Now, next type of incompatibility that can be seen by the naked eye is the change in the morphology or the physical state of a particular formulation. Just now I have said, if you are mixing any 2 formulation which are actually in solid state, and eventually what you have come across is that entire thing formed or liquefied later on, because they have become deliquescent. So, here there is a complete change of state from solid to liquid. So, such type of incompatibilities are also classified as physical incompatibility. So, change in color, change in odor, change in taste, change in viscosity and change in morphology results because of physical incompatibility or because of improper physical mixing of 2 or more substances. It is a result of insolubility, immiscibility, precipitation, liquefaction, absorption and complexation process. Now, here the terms that we have come across, insolubility, immiscibility, precipitation, liquefaction, absorption and complexation process, these terms are actually a process that is going to impart chemical incompatibility. Now, let me be very precise here. These tests are actually classified as chemical incompatibility. However, due to chemical incompatibility, the resultant that we see is termed as physical incompatibility. For example, if there is a precipitation or if there is a liquefaction of the drug, if 2 or more substances are mixed and the result was liquefaction happened. So, what we can say, liquefaction is nothing but it is a chemical process, because there are something bond formation and bond breakage. However, what is the result? That there is a change of morphology. So, can we say that due to chemical incompatibility, physical incompatibility has also occurred because there is a change in morphology? So, definitely we can say that if insolubility occurs, immiscibility occurs, precipitation occurs, complexation occurs, then liquefaction occurs, then definitely these changes are going to cause physical incompatibility in our formulation. So, this is nothing but your physical incompatibility. So, Physical incompatibility definitely can be corrected, and the correction of physical incompatibility definitely do not needs very quite high skill. Just we have to be very much aware of different parameters that we are just going to study now. If these parameters are kept in mind properly, then we can understand or we can eliminate the possibility of physical incompatibility. Let us understand these kind of incompatibility. The very first incompatibility is order of mixing. If we alter the order of mixing of two or more formulations, then what happens? We can eliminate the possibility of physical incompatibility. For example, if we are mixing two or more substances and that two or more substances is going to produce a liquefaction, and if we add another substances, that liquefaction can be eliminated, but because that is going to absorb the moisture present due to the formation of these two substances. So, order of mixing is definitely should be adopted to avoid the physical incompatibility. Now, let us understand the another parameter that is going to help to eliminate the physical incompatibility is your alteration of solvents. Definitely, if anything or if any substances is not soluble in aqueous solvent, we should definitely choose the organic solvent or any other type of solvents in which our medicaments is soluble. So, we can definitely avoid the solubility issues. So, by changing or by altering the solvents, physical incompatibility can also be lowered or it can be completely eliminated. Now, change in the form of ingredients. If the ingredients have different forms, if they are available in solid forms as well, liquid form as well as, or if they are available in vapor form as well. So, depending upon the choice or depending upon the problems that arises due to mixing of one specific form of ingredients, if we have the liberty to choose another form, we must surely go for another form, because this is going to minimize or this is going to decrease the possibility of physical incompatibility. Then let us understand by alteration of volume. Definitely, if the volume, if you are making something on a huge scale and slight error occurs, then that error is definitely not going to be more reflective. However, if you are making something on a smaller scale, the errors are the errors actually becomes more prone to be visible. So, if volume alteration can be done, so there are also chances that physical incompatibility can be lowered or definitely can be minimized. Now, let us understand the another concept through which physical incompatibility can be avoided or can be lowered is accurate choice of emulgent and suspending agent. Here, we know that suspension is formed when insoluble solids are suspended in a particular solvent, and whenever the solids are insoluble in a solvent, we add suitable suspending agent or emulgents in order to make the formulation stabilize. So, when we choose the wrong suspending agent, definitely what we are going to get is an incompatibility, the physical incompatibility. So, while choosing this different types of emulsifying agent while making emulsions or different types of suspending agent while making emulsion, we have to be more clear and to be more precise. Next is addition. Here addition of what? Addition of any sort of excipients that is being added into the formulation. Here addition means addition of excipients. So, if you know that when you are preparing, here I would like to mention an example. If we know that while preparing a tablet, if we are adding orange flavor to it, there is a there is a change in the odor because of the reaction of that orange flavor with any of the medicament. So, here the selection of excipients plays an important role in deciding that whether our formulation is going to remain stable or not. So, choosing of excipients, addition of excipients is definitely a very important role. So, while selecting excipients, it is our responsibility, it is our duty to check that whether any physical incompatibility does not arises from these selection. Because once the product is actually finished, and if such kind of physical incompatibility are not seen initially, what is going to happen is the final product is going to have hundreds of errors, and when the product becomes finalized, it is almost impossible to correct these errors. So, during the initial stage of mixing, we have to be very clear, we have to be very precise that while mixing these things, we should be very careful that no physical incompatibility is or has taken place. So, this is how we can eliminate the chances of physical incompatibility by doing such kind of things, that is by keeping in mind the order of mixing, by keeping in or by altering solvents depending upon the choice of the medicament that we have done. If our medicament is soluble in water aqueous form, then we will definitely go for hydrophilic solvents. If it is solubilized in hydrophobic solvents, we will definitely go for organic solvents. So, now change the form of ingredients. In the form of ingredients means the physical states of the ingredient. If your ingredient is quite stable in the liquid state, why we will go for solid or gaseous state? We will definitely choose the most stable state, that is a liquid state, and then by alteration of volume and by using or by selecting the proper amount of selection of emulsifying agent, suspending agent, so that the formulation that we are making is not going to have any sort of incompatibility. And lastly, addition of proper excipients plays an important role in deciding whether the formulation is going to remain intact or not throughout its shelf life. So, choosing of excipients is actually a very important and vital step in deciding or ruling out the possibility of physical incompatibility. So, that is all about physical incompatibility. Moving ahead, there are certain examples of physical incompatibility. Let us understand. The very first example of physical incompatibility is nothing but the insolubility. Insolubility occurs mainly due to change in pH or due to milling, that is due to decrease in size of the medicaments, or by choosing the different types of surfactants, or by use or due to by chemical reaction. Just now I have said in the previous slide that when there is a issue with the when there is a chemical incompatibility, the resultant are two. There can be a possibility of chemical incompatibility, and at the same time there are chances that there can be possibility of physical incompatibility as well. Due to chemical reaction, physical incompatibility arises. So, it is very important to understand that different type of chemical reaction is going to impart physical incompatibility to the formulations as well. So, physical incompatibility is also a result of chemical reaction. Then choosing improper co-solvent are the factors that is going to affect the solubility. Definitely change in pH, milling, surfactant choices, using of improper co-solvents, chemical reaction. These are some of the factors that is definitely going to affect the solubility of a particular formulation. Now, here there is an example that actually help us to understand that how the physical incompatibility can be minimized. Let us understand this example. If the mucilage of acacia and alcohol are put together, they form precipitate of acacia by the alcohol. For this reason, acacia is unable to be used for mucilage preparation for alcohol. Let us understand the situation. We have got acacia gum and we are mixing it with alcohol. Okay. So, when we are mixing these two ingredients and we are preparing a mucilage, there is a difficulty in preparation of mucilage because there is a formation of precipitate of acacia. So, if there is a precipitate, there is definitely unable, so the precipitate formation becomes a challenging task whenever these two improper ingredients are mixed here. So, here what we do, we are using diffusible solids for the preparation of suspensions. Here there is another example of physical incompatibility. When we are using diffusible solid for preparation of suspension, if improper suspending agents or if improper thickening agents are used, then what is the problem? Then the problem that is going to arise is nothing but solubility issues, then definitely that is a sort of physical incompatibility. So, these two are example that is going to understand what are the types of physical incompatibility. So, here what we saw that whenever acacia is mixed with alcohol in order to form a proper mucilage, the mucilage formation is hindered or does not take place because there is a formation of precipitate of alcohol by acacia. Now, here there is another example which mentions that if we are using diffusible solids for the preparation of solvents for the preparation of suspension, that then what we get is a improper suspension because the thickening agent, the suspending agent that we are using is not of proper grade. Then there are particular issues that is going to arise. So, these two are the examples of the insolubility, and here I just now mentioned that insolubility can be due to change in pH, can be due to milling, can be due to chemical reaction, can be due to choice of improper solvent, and sometimes it also can be due to different types of chemical reaction. Here it is very important to understand that due to chemical reaction there are also chances that there is a change in the physical state, or there is a change, or there is a another type of incompatibility that arises due to the chemical reaction is nothing but your chemical incompatibility. Moving on. So, we just had a brief discussion on what is physical incompatibility, how to overcome the physical incompatibility, and what are the different examples of physical incompatibility. Let us have a quick discussion on chemical incompatibility. So, chemical incompatibility is also known as immediate incompatibility. Now, here I would like to mark this word immediate as very important, because all the chemical reactions that takes place in a while mixing, while adhering any substances is very quick, and as a result this type of incompatibilities are termed as chemical incompatibility or immediate incompatibility, because the incompatibility that occurs is very quick, very fast, and we actually have any time, or we hardly have any time to notice such kind of incompatibility. So, what happened after compounding, it shows immediate incompatibility. So, whenever you compound these medications, the incompatibility that you get is very fast, is very quick. The scenario whenever you are mixing these things is quite fast. So, you hardly get any time to actually reverse such kind of incompatibility. And let me add here one more point. Chemical incompatibility are oftenly irreversible sort of incompatibility, because as I have just now made clear here that chemical incompatibility is a sort of immediate incompatibility. Hence, what we have here, what it is important for us to understand, that chemical incompatibility needs to be taken care of, because once improper mixing of medicaments takes place, what happens here is immediate improper mixing occurs, and we hardly get any times to reverse this phenomena. So, here it is very important to understand that chemical incompatibility is nothing but an immediate incompatibility. It occurs due to oxidation reduction. It also occurs due to acid base hydrolysis or combination reaction, or those noticed by effervescence, decomposition and by color change reaction. So, chemical incompatibility is majorly due to, first let us understand, it is due to oxidation reduction, it is also due to acid base hydrolysis, then it is due to combination reaction, then it is also due to effervescence, or to be more precise, evolution of gases, then it is lastly, it is also by the decomposition reaction. So, here are some of the points which is going to evoke the possibility of chemical incompatibility in our formulation. Now, sometimes chemical incompatibility, we do not know that chemical incompatibility has occurred in a particular dosage form. We are unaware. However, there are sometimes some sort of color change reaction that is going to help us to understand that yes, chemical incompatibility has occurred here, because if initially your compound, let me give you an example, that initially let us consider a situation that whatever formulation you have made is actually red in color. I am just giving an example, is actually red in color, and we know that the proper product is supposed to be in red in color only. However, due to any of these phenomena, either it can be due to oxidation reduction, it can be due to acid base hydrolysis, combination reaction, by effervescence or by decomposition, there is a slight change in the color. If the red color has turned blue, or if the red color has turned brick red in color, or if some other color has been achieved. So, it is a clear indication that there is some sort of incompatibility that is being happening in the formulation or in the dosage form. So, this gives an idea to us that yes, we have achieved an incompatibility in our formulation. So, now it is time for us to check that at what stage incompatibility has occurred, because we are very well aware that incompatibility, chemical incompatibility is an immediate incompatibility, and it actually, or it hardly takes any time for this incompatibility to occur. As soon as the two incompatible mixtures or incompatible substances are mixed together, the resultant is nothing but your chemical incompatibility, or generation of gases, evolution of gases, formation of precipitate, or any, it can be any, it can be any form of phenomena, and these phenomena are majorly due to oxidation reduction, acid bases, combination reaction, effervescence or decomposition reaction. So, it can be anything. Now, chemical reaction occurs between the ingredients and toxic and inactive product is going to be formed. Now, here I would like to be more precise that whenever chemical incompatibility occurs, whatever the result is there, sometimes the activity of the finished dosage form decreases, or it does not remain, or it sums up to be 0, or sometimes what happens here is the formation of completely inactive products occurs. Formation of, sometimes in addition to inactive products, there is generation of toxic products as well. So, we have to be very careful whenever we are mixing any ingredients. Proper prior studying has to be done whenever we are mixing two different types of ingredients, and if we are not sure about the proper compatibility of these two mixtures, it is important to have a good literature review while mixing these two, while mixing any two of the formulation prior to the making of the dosage forms. So, clubbing that chemical incompatibility. Chemical incompatibility, very first it is a sort of immediate incompatibility, then it does not take huge amount of time for this sort of incompatibility to occur. Then what happens here is the incompatibility is majorly due to oxidation reduction, acid base hydrolysis, combination reaction, or it can be also due to effervescence or evolution of gases, or sometimes also due to decomposition reaction. What happens here is whenever you are mixing two things, the product is actually decomposed. So, what you get is nothing. So, here the resultant is completely incompatibility. It is completely an incompatible reaction. So, it's our effort, it's our responsibility to understand such type of incompatibility, because we are going to make a formulation. So, because the resultant is something that is toxic, sometimes that can be inactive. So, it is good that prior literature study has to be done in order to avoid any such kind of issues in the future. Then chemical interaction occurs between the ingredients and toxic and inactive products. As I just now mentioned, inactive ingredients can also be a resultant of the chemical incompatibility, and sometimes toxic substances can also be a resultant. So, here this slide represents the types or the examples of chemical incompatibility. The first one here is formation of precipitate. So, if there is a formation of precipitate, that is going to a change in the state, and here change in the state is a physical incompatibility. However, what has made this change happen? It is only due to because of the formation of precipitate. So, formation of precipitate is a chemical incompatibility. However, change of state is a or the phenomena that can be seen with the naked eye is nothing but a physical incompatibility. Another one is the formation of gas, definitely gas formation, or effervescence is the formation as a result of the mixing or as a result of the chemical reaction which causes evolution of a particular gas. So, gas formation is another sort of physical chemical incompatibility. Color change occurs as a result of chemical reaction. So, the final thing is seen by naked eye. So, the final thing is nothing but a physical incompatibility. However, the reaction that has led to the cause of the color change is included under your chemical incompatibility. And another example is ionic reaction. Ionic reaction is going to make various changes. It can decompose or make a product inactive, or it can have issues with the product and make it non-ionic or completely toxic. So, these are some of the examples of chemical incompatibility. So, that is all about physical and chemical incompatibility. I hope this session is quite useful for understanding the different types of incompatibility, that is physical, chemical and therapeutic. So, thank you so much.